Binge the full week of The Ray Taylor Show ad-free over at inspireddisorder.com/plus.
What you manifest in your mind, you can bring to reality.
Swipe Up, episode 163. This is the show where I give my opinion on current events. Posts that I find on Instagram. Sometimes it's just movie trivia, which let's get it started, shall we? Because we're going to get it started with some movie trivia and TV trivia. I enjoy this stuff. I love TV. I love movies. I love Breaking Bad, one of, if not the best shows, arguably one of the best shows, TV shows on TV ever, right? I love it. I go back and rewatch the series every year or two. So I've rewatched the series a few times, and it is great. It is so great. And this scene, it only took one take for Bryan Cranston to throw the pizza onto the roof. His surprised reaction was genuine, which is a great scene. I mean, just part of his frustration dealing with trying to connect with his family while also trying to be a successful meth cook. But that is kind of the perfect... That pizza just floated up onto that roof, about as perfect as you can get. But yeah, so that's our first piece of little trivia. This one, in the scene where Wick's dog poops, the filmmakers paid $5,000 to render the fake CGI poop that floats on the grass. Which I don't know. Floating on the grass, I guess, instead of sitting on the grass, like I don't like the term floating on the grass makes it seem like they didn't do a good job. But very interesting that they would just CG. Like, come on, I love the John Wick series. Don't get me wrong. A lot of great practical effects in that movie. Great fighting scenes, fighting choreography. Can't we pay an artist to make some poop? It's not like they showed the poop coming out. It's just on the ground. The dog runs away. I don't know. Interesting, though. Just an interesting fact. John Wick trivia. Moving on to the guitar Kurt Russell mistakenly breaks was a 1870s antique worth $40,000. Jason Lee's shocked reaction was real. Which I've seen this piece of trivia a couple times. That kind of sucks. That sucks. Like a $40,000 antique. I mean, it's just an old guitar. But still, that's like that's somebody's salary that just got busted. $40,000. I would love to make $40,000 a year. I would love, that would be a complete life changer if I was making $40,000 a year and it just got destroyed in one foul swoop. In a good movie, The Hateful Eight. I mean, all of Tarantino's, I forget where I ranked that movie in my top 5 of Tarantino. I would assume it's on a top 5. It is a great, whodunit. Beautifully shot. Obviously great written. The intermission with the Tarantino voiceover is a little much, but still a great movie. And last but not least in this little bunch here, Fight Club from 1999. When the characters are drunk and hitting golf balls, Pitt and Norton really were drunk and hitting the catering truck, which is a movie that I love. It hits a little bit different just because of the type of people that have hijacked it. Same thing with The Matrix. The Matrix kind of got hijacked with a bunch of the super right-wing nut jobs. But I still love Fight Club. It's one of my favorite movies. David Fincher's amazing. But yeah, some interesting trivia there. A little over 4 years ago, I started The Many Faces. It's an ongoing series of abstract ink portraits. Each piece is improvised. Each piece is released daily. Start collecting now. Head on over to inspireddisorder.com/TMF. That stands for The Many Faces. And save yourself 25% when you use coupon code RTF. S. That stands for The Ray Taylor Show, because that's what you're listening to, and I love you. So I want you to save 25% when you use that coupon code. Head on over to inspireddisorder.com/TMF and use coupon code RTS to save 25% when you start collecting one of over 1,600 original ink paintings. By myself, I made them. Support me. I love you. Back to the show. Let's move on from movie trivia and TV trivia to just some piece of history. For those that are listening to this episode, I recommend checking out the video version because we're looking at photos of Halloween from the 1970s. Brooklyn are a spooky treat. It's a 1970s Brooklyn. I'm sorry. Let me finish that entire sentence. But a lot of I remember those masks in the 80s. I had a Mr. T mask that was like that, where it's it's like this plastic mold of way oversized plastic mold, like this thin, hard plastic. And then there was just this little elastic string that would hold it to your face. I'm surprised those haven't come back. Because that would be an inexpensive. All the masks that are pretty elaborate nowadays. You can get Halloween masks that look like movie grade masks almost. But yeah. But these masks with these shirts that just have screen printed costume on it, it's the saddest kind of costumes. I'm not sure what the witch is kind of scary as well. But yeah. I didn't see any. It was recently Halloween for those. By the time this episode comes out, Halloween will have been almost a week and 2 weeks ago. Not that there was anybody here. I was working. It was Sunday, so it was a week ago or a week and a half ago. I didn't see costumes are so elaborate now. It's kind of weird. It's kind of crazy how the evolution of quality in costumes has changed over, I guess, the last 50 years from the 70s. Even from the 80s, from when I was a kid, they were pretty. It was not much different than this stuff. I guess I'll point to the much different than this stuff. But I don't even think kids are trick-or-treating like they used to be. I saw some when I went and took my dog for a walk. We didn't have anybody come to the house because all the lights were off. I wasn't going to be handing out candy, and I was the only one here. But even still, in past years, pre-pandemic, there would still be people that would try and come to get candy, even though the lights were off. But yeah. Kind of interesting times. I don't know if kids are trick-or-treating like they used to be. Seems like there's more organized, kind of organizations will set up a trick-or-treat area where kids can go and go to different booths. They used to do that in the mall. I remember one Halloween, went trick-or-treating with my friend and their parents at the mall, which was, I had a injury, so I wasn't able to walk around the mall and do it. I don't know. It's so long ago. All right, let's move on to hopefully some good news here for at least part of this insane world that is dying around us. This evolutionary gift may protect coral from climate change, which there's been a lot of issues with coral and the ocean in general. Specifically, I think the Great Barrier Reef, where just massive amounts of life in the sea has been decimated because of temperature changes in the water, because of just the way certain things react in these ecosystems. But it seems like life will evolution is a thing. It's just weird. I also saw an article, speaking of evolution, these elephants that have leapfrogged in evolution to no longer grow tusks because of the tusks that were being poached, the elephants being poached for their tusks. Now elephants are being born and they're not growing tusks anymore because of an evolutionary trait. It's kind of surprising to see evolutionary changes within a lifetime. So yeah, so I mean, aside from the humans on this planet, I would imagine life will continue to go on long after we are gone, long after we kill ourselves off, despite the fact that we are just making climate change happen at an accelerated rate. So a little bit of good news, I guess. I mean, this article could also have been, I mean, it's a Wired article. So, I mean, it could have been written as a piece of propaganda by some company that doesn't want to, that's making a lot of money where coral is dying. I don't know. But I'm taking it as good news for at least life after humans. Join Inspired Disorder Plus today. Head on over to inspireddisorder.com/plus to join. Membership includes members-only discounts and deals. You get access to the Ray Taylor Show completely ad-free, as well as bonus episodes. You get access to the complete live painting archive. You also get access to every single podcast ever produced by Inspired Disorder, hosted by Ray Taylor. You get access to Ray Taylor's personal blog, as well as the opportunity to ask me any questions. So if you want to start a podcast, you're into art, ask me anything. And so many more things are being added every day to Inspired Disorder Plus. So sign up today, become a member, head on over to inspireddisorder.com/plus and become an Inspired Disorder Plus member today. Last but not least, Doug Benson, stand-up comedian, host of Doug Loves Movies, one of my favorite podcasts, has been posting his hot takes recently on Instagram and probably Twitter as well, which some of them I do not agree with, but the majority I do. This one is a fun one. His hot take of the day. I wouldn't put them in this order, but no other filmmaker has made 6 movies I've enjoyed as much as these, and he is referring to Edgar Wright's movies, who has a new movie, One Night in Soho, out, which I'm looking forward to watching as soon as it's available outside of movie theaters, on video on demand or purchase or whatever. I do want to watch it. I love Edgar Wright movies. The order that these are in is at number 1, Scott Pilgrim, number 2, The World's End, Shaun of the Dead, Last Night in Soho, Baby Driver, and number 6 is Hot Fuzz. I don't know, is that all of his movies? I need to do an Edgar Wright top 5 because I love all of his movies. The World's End is probably my least favorite, but I guarantee if I rewatch that movie, because it's the final movie in the Cornetto trilogy with Shaun of the Dead and Hot Fuzz. I guarantee if I watch that again, I'd probably like it more. But for whatever reason, that was my least favorite. Scott Pilgrim is amazing. Baby Driver, despite the fact it has some problematic actors in it, I still love that movie. Action synced to music. Get out of here. But yeah, I agree with Doug Benson that, I mean, he is definitely one of the directors that has a very unique filmography because they're all fun. They're all kind of different, but not really. They have like more of a younger aesthetic versus like a Tarantino or a Paul Thomas Anderson, who are also put out amazing movies. Like they even their worst movie is better than 99% of the garbage that's out there. Like Edgar Wright's movies, I would consider to be, but they're like they're lighter, they're fun. There's like comedy. I mean, comedy in general, when in the movie landscape, is hard to do apparently because most of them are bad. But I think Edgar Wright does great comedy, which Last Night in Soho is supposed to be like a horror film, which I'm all for that, and not like a Shaun of the Dead type of horror film, like a horror film. But yeah, that is the episode. Let's do some shout outs and get on out of here. Shout out to Film Enthusiast. Shout out BuzzFeed News. Shout out Wired. And shout out You Don't Know Doug. But most importantly, shout out to you. New episodes of The Ray Taylor Show come out every single day. Subscribe on YouTube and everywhere our podcasts are found. Binge the full week over at inspireddisorder.com/plus. Buy Ray Taylor Show merch over at inspireddisorder.com. And follow the show on Instagram at Ray Taylor Show. Have a wonderful day, everybody. Peace out!